Welcome, everyone, to episode 5 of the Builder Show, the show where we build builders. And today we are going to be discussing 3 things every electrician needs to know in 2026. And I get to do that with my co host today, Wilson Betances. Wilson, how are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing, brother?
Doing great. Doing great. Better than I deserve.
Oof, that's deep. That's deep.
Yeah, let's not go down that rabbit hole.
I know, right? This is not blue collar therapy right now.
I know. I'm not trying to preach.
But along those lines, you know, better than what we deserve. And I think as an industry, as electricians as a whole, we got to understand what opportunities we have going into 2026. We're in the middle of January now. Everyone's talking about new year, new goals. Our first few episodes, we were talking about what can you do differently this year than previous years. And now we're coming to the point where we're already halfway into this first month of the year. And as electricians, there's things that we all need to do. We all need to change. We already talked about mindset. We already talked about habits. But what are 3 things, once again, that we have to nail down? These 3 things are going to change you when it comes to your type of career that you want to have, the type of electrician you want to be, or even educator, contractor, or master electrician. Cameron, you want to kick us off with the first one. What do you think about this one, guys? If you're just tuning in, I want you guys to comment down below your thoughts.
Sure. So, the first thing that every electrician needs to know in 2026 is just showing up is not enough.
Mm.
Just clocking in and clocking out when you're supposed to is not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Showing up is the bare minimum that anyone could do in their job, right? All you got to do is show up. That's the first step in keeping a job, right? Is showing up. While that is good, especially showing up on time, that's not going to take you to any next level. Maybe that did decades ago. I don't know. Maybe that was like the good old boy system. Just show up on time and clock in, clock out, and you'll get a raise because you've been showing up every day. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's not the world we live in today. Sorry to break it to you.
That's so true. And as an employer, you have your own contracting company. I have mine. What it's coming to a point. It's like going through the motions, and I can relate this, especially like as a husband. True or not, your wife will talk to you, and there will be days she's like, "You were here, but you weren't present. You were present, but you wasn't engaging." And I feel like it's the same thing with
Yeah.
work. Like you can just show up, you can just go through the routines, but genuinely as an electrician, especially this year with all the opportunities, like how we started this conversation, there are so many opportunities for electricians in 2026 that if you genuinely put a little bit of effort into what you're doing every single day, you're going to make off like a bandit. We have the explosion of data centers. We have the explosion of renewables. We have the explosion of smart home integrations. There are so many different facets of electrical that are going to blow up, as well as so many existing contractors are going out the door, are closing down shop, are quitting their businesses because they have no one to pass it off to. If you are an electrician and you put a little bit of effort towards your licensure, towards the opportunities that are coming, you are going to make off like a freaking thief. Because guess what? All of these opportunities coming, if you are just an employee, you're just going to get paid your hourly rate. You're just going to get paid 30, 40, 50, maybe 60, 65 if you're in some union. But guess what? The people who are going to make the big bucks are the ones who are going to be owning these businesses, owning these new contracts, owning all of what this 2026 year has to offer. If you want to stay an employee, guess what? You're always going to have a job. You're always going to be complacent. You're always going to be a good worker. But guess what? You won't go hungry, but at the same time, you won't know what that next level is. And that's why we push so hard for you guys to think about what you're doing, be intentional, don't just show up. That way of thinking is so old by now. Remember, we all have responsibilities, we all have opportunities to keep growing. What do you think, Cameron?
Yeah.
Knowing
So
that, yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. What were we gonna say?
Oh no, I was just going to say, knowing that and knowing what you know now, especially with what's coming in the industry, would you have one jumped into electrical earlier if you knew what this life was going to bring you, you know? Or two, what would you do if you had to start all over again?
It's hard to say what I would do differently or if I would have gotten to the trade earlier, because just like all of us would answer, most of us would answer in the same way, is we are who we are today because of the decisions we made up till now, right? So there's a reason why I went to college for a while, and I did end up getting a 4-year degree. It took me 7 years to get a 4-year degree because I started over so many times. But I do wish that I would have been introduced to the trades and what they did have to offer. But again, like I said in the last episode, that wasn't part of the spiel that high school counselors gave. It was just college, 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 more college, and this and that, and making sure you get a good ACT score, good SAT score, get scholarships. I didn't even know how to get a scholarship. I still don't understand that. But that's all I heard was college, and then military was plan B. But if I would have known what I know now, just think if I would have gotten into the trades at 18, depending on the situation, depending on where I would be living. I live in Tennessee now, obviously. My life could be a whole lot different now. Maybe it could be better. I don't know. But just think of all the experience that I could have had, 10 years prior, and the knowledge as well. But I want to play devil's advocate just for audience sake, because we may have some listeners that are listening and they may make $50 an hour or $60 an hour, and they would say, well, that is the big bucks. I am making over six figures. I mean, I am making six figures a year. I'm making $120,000 a year. How are you saying that's not big bucks? So, like, what would you say to someone who is complacent making that kind of hourly rate? And then the second question is it really the case, and is it really true that electricians are pulling in that kind of money without licensure?
That's a good question. And just with everything that's going on, remember, we have union, we have non-union.
Mhm.
The principle stays the same. If you are going to be and go through the electrical apprenticeship, either union or non-union, you still have to go and do the work. You still have to go through schooling. You're still going through these brackets, like we mentioned before. There's still phases: apprentice, mechanic, journeyman, master electrician. There's still brackets. You understand? When you're a journeyman, or if you're a crew lead and you're just doing the basic apprentice work, you're not going to get those rewards. And if you get laid off, you're going to be at the bottom of the books.
Hmm.
You understand? So it doesn't matter if you're licensed or unlicensed. What the principle is the progression of the trades. If you genuinely wake up and you just want to do your 9 to 5 as a worker, then go on. Guess what? Once again, now you're going to have a job. The guy's going to love you. You're going to show up every day. But the second you start thinking of, why does he get that opportunity? He's telling me to run the job like this. Well, I want to do it like that. Why did he get a raise? Why did he get the new van? Why does he get to choose who he works with? If there's a layoff, why is he still employed? All of these things happen because you chose, there's cause and effect. You chose not to want to progress. You chose, hey, I just want this and I'm okay with it. That's fine. So when other people get other opportunities that you may want, and hey, if you don't want them, awesome. It's going to be rainbows and sunshines for the rest of your career. But you are always going to be living in a world of what ifs. And that's just life. What if I did this? What's going to happen? What if I did that? What could have happened? You have to be the person that you can look in the mirror and say, you know what? This is all I want, and I'm fine with that. More power to you. There's going to be a group of individuals who are going to wake up every day wanting to do the best. You don't understand. There's a group of electricians. There's a group of electricians that are going to wake up every day, work their tail off to get what they want. And guess what? That could be financial, that can be titles, that can be jobs, that can be their own contractor. There's electricians who are going to wake up and do whatever they have to do to get exactly where they want to go. And guess what? They may not know where they want to go, but all they know is they have to show up every single day ready to work their ass off. That's the minimum. That's the progression of any type of growth. You can't just go to the gym and do the same workout every single day and not progressively add weight and expect to have a nice physique. You can maintain yourself, that's fine. You can maintain your own diet, that's fine. Nothing's going to change. If you want change, you have to introduce friction to whatever scenario you're working towards. So when it comes to electricians, if you're listening to this, you have to understand whatever you're deciding, that's fine. That's up to you. But just showing up to work, clocking in, you're going to know the end result because you're going to be doing the same thing every day. And that's going to lead us to our second point about just comfort. You know, everyone talks about comfort. Tennessee is, you know, down south. There's comfort food, is that southern food, you know, is that southern hospitality. You come in, you get some biscuits, you get some of that.
Not me. I quit that crap.
Oh, well, you quit it, but at the same time, you go down south
That
and,
Cracker
you
Barrel.
know, they're going to give you that good comfort food. And what happens? It exactly in the title. You're not going to want to get up as much. You know what I mean? You're just going to get nice and cozy. You're going to sip on that little iced tea. You're going to be on that rocking chair. And guess what? That's that comfort life. If you're looking for that as an electrician, especially coming into 2026, not only are you not going to grow, but you're just hurting yourself because there are so many people who are going to come into this industry trying to take it freaking over. And if you're just kicking your feet up, you're taking the spot of somebody who really wants it. Now, is there going to be plenty of work to go around? Absolutely. But at the same time, you have to recognize that individuals who are coming in, especially in these next few years, are coming for gold. It's like that expansion when we bought the Louisiana territory and out west, you know, when we first came, that gold rush. You ain't going to the west. You ain't, you know, exploring, going through Indian territory, risking getting killed to not look for gold. True or not? You're going on this expedition. What was the Little House on the Prairie? You talked about that, right? They're all going west for what? They're looking for an opportunity. No one's going to come into electrical just to be like, I just want my 40. Now, everybody in 2026 who's coming into becoming an electrician, they're running for gold, bro. They're going for gold because with data centers, energy, renewables, when it comes to the battery sector, when it comes to smart home integration, there are going to be a high demand for licensed electricians. And these licensed electricians are going to kill it because they're going to be needed every single project. How do you feel about that? Now that we're talking about comfort.
Yeah, comfort is also tied in with our first point because the first point of just showing up, that is tied in with comfort because I think just showing up is easy. That's really not that hard to show up. And so that's why I was playing devil's advocate because we have had some pushback in our comments section about how some individuals are saying that they make all this money and they're at this job and they don't need a license. And look, I can't speak if there is some diamond in the rough out there, some dude's making it somehow without a license. But these are general true statements. This is going to be true 99.9% of the time about licensure versus the unlicensed person. And what has never made sense to me is if you want to be a laborer your entire career and you want to do your 9 to 5, I know there's a group of people out there. There's a percentage of people that's what they want. And if that's what you want to do, then more power to you if you're happy doing that. But there's a lot of people who are not content, they're not complacent, and they want to do better in their careers. And what I don't understand is if you don't want to get your license because you just don't want to, that's fine. But when you start arguing against it, when you say it's dumb, when it's not needed, overrated, you start mocking it, that just shows where you're at mentally. That shows where your mind's at.
That shows why you
That
can't get a license.
That shows, what do we call it? Your frequency. We call it your frequency. Who in their right mind disses licensure in any profession? I'm not saying that licensure, the process of it is perfect all across the board. Nothing's going to be perfect in this life. But generally, the whole principle of licensure, why would anyone be against that? That makes no sense. That just shows that you can't get it and you wish you had it. So, back to circling back here to the second point about how comfort will ruin your career. It will ruin your career even if you do like the 9 to 5. If you're happy with that, even if you are satisfied with that kind of life, it can ruin your career because a licensed person is going to come take your job. So you can forget your whole mindset of wanting to do that. The licensed person is going to come in and take your job every single time. And your day's coming when you're going to be going against the licensed person.
And I think you hit it.
Yeah. Oh, I was just going to say, the only leg you're going to have to stand on is, I've been here forever. Okay.
Yeah, and I think you hit it on the head, especially when it came to the point where you said that speaks more of you than anything else. If you are genuinely trying to bash it, not only are you just swimming up a creek, without a paddle. There, you ask any other employer, hey, who would you rather have, a journeyman or just a worker? Everyone's gonna know what they're gonna choose because you guys are, like Cameron said, a diamond in the rough. You guys are the ones that everyone is sought after. What we need to remember, though, is the people with that type of mindset, they never end up staying in electrical. The people who are saying, hey, I don't need an electrical license, there's no value in it, they don't stay in electrical. They're going to talk about electrical as in the glory days. Oh, I used to get paid. Used to, but you don't now. Why? Because you're not in it. Oh, well, I could have, should have. Guess what? You don't have it now. And at the end of the day, these are the individuals who are going to say, oh, well, I could have ran circles around you, but you can't. Also, the people with that type of mindset, it's funny how they all develop the same reputation. They all develop the same reputation as somebody who's like, yep, he's just going to talk. Yep, he's negative. Yep, that's their frequency. You touched on that too. So why is this so important? Why do we need to understand that you can't just show up? And if you show up, make sure you're looking and being intentional with what the trade has to offer. Because if you stay complacent, you're not going to see the value in any type of growth. On the other hand, you're going to just start bashing growth. But then if you show up and you're just complacent, as any other person can attest, you're just going to be that guy. You're going to develop a reputation for yourself. And when you develop that reputation for yourself, no one's going to want to work around you. No one's going to give you opportunities because guess what? You already soiled your image. And as contractors, Cameron and I, and if you guys are listening, I know there's some memes out there where it's saying like, when you hear this type of accent, that tells you what type of customer it is. And there's people like, hey, if you lower your price, I give you more work. Just like there's stigmas about the trades, there's some patterns about some customers. And the second you hear those red flags, you are out the freaking door because you don't want to deal with it. The reputation you have as an electrician, the reputation you have as an apprentice, the reputation you develop as a contractor will determine if you're going to be someone who's jumping from company to company, if you're going to go out of business, if you're that type of person who even wants to work for you. I hear all the time these contracts saying, oh, I can't find good help. Well, you have a reputation of somebody I don't want to work for. Everybody demands the best. Everybody wants the A-class employee, the A-class journeyman, when you're a scumbag of a contractor. That's like walking around all out of shape, all looking ugly, and you say, I want to date the hottest girl in the room. It's like, dude, she don't even want to look at you. These are just scenarios where people feel so entitled just because they feel like they earn it when they did it. So if you're an apprentice and you want that job, if you want to get that new van, if you want to get those new projects, if you want to lead a crew and you're not doing the minimum effort that you need to do because you're complacent, because you just want to show up, then bro, your reputation is, sit in the back, sort the material, go pick up the coffees in the morning. I don't need you right now. Nah, bro. When we got to throw out trash, I'll give you a call. And I think that's what people have to remember, that every single thing you do in 2026 is going to determine what type of electrician you're going to be. If you just want to show up, if you just want to be comfortable, you're going to develop this reputation and nobody's going to want to work with you. And you're going to have to look at every other opportunity out there while everybody's coming in and making it. You're going to be that one dude who peaked and is going to lose everything after that. So just remember that. Cameron, how do you think? Or what do you think?
No, I agree. I agree with all of that. And those are really good points that lead us into our third point. 3 things you need to know as an electrician in 2026. So the third thing every electrician needs to know in 2026 is your reputation will make or break you. Your reputation will make or break you. So we have talked about before plenty of times red flags in customers. We all love talking about the customer, how the customer is not knowledgeable and all these red flags looking customers, right? But have you ever thought about maybe what customers look for in contractors that are red flags? Because sometimes, or what I've seen is when people want to just blame the customer for everything, there's bad customers, right? We acknowledge that. We also acknowledge that not every customer is your customer. Doesn't mean they're bad necessarily, but it's just not going to work out. In the same way, I promise you, customers are looking at contractors in the same way. So I try to think of, and Will, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. I try to think on what I think are red flags in contractors. So there's 2 things that come to mind, and they may seem shallow, but they're really not shallow because it's usually a package deal. So as an electrician, if you want to take step 1 in holding a good reputation or not showing a customer a red flag. All right. So many guys can't take care of their haircuts. They can't take care of their facial hair. I'm telling you, if a dude shows up to my house and his hair's all crazy, his facial hair is out of control, and if he weighs like 300 pounds and he's like 5'8", I don't want that dude at my house. And in the same way, I will never hire someone that takes care of themselves like that, or I should rather say doesn't take care of themselves. Tennessee electricians, you will never see a person who lets themselves go, and if they're huffing and puffing, walking, 100 feet with some tools, never going to hire them, because those things show a more deeper inward issue of being undisciplined. If you can't take care of your body, if you can't take care of the simple things, what makes you think they're going to care about your business? What makes you think that they're going to take work seriously when they don't even care about their body, which is like the most important thing you could take care of?
Not only that, True or not, those are always the electricians telling me they're going to run circles around me.
Oh yeah,
And
all the overweight electricians are telling me they run circles around me. Number
I
one,
said, bro, no, you don't run at all.
you don't run. Secondly, what does that even mean? People say that like, oh, I'll run circles around you. What does that even mean? What do you even mean by that? Because a lot of people like to say that on Instagram, and I'm sitting here like, dude, the one, the people who say that are like the ones who can't even run. Okay, so if you're talking about literal running circles around me, you can't even run. If you're talking metaphorically, what do you mean by that? Are you like more respected? Are you more knowledgeable? Do you do better work? Like, I don't even know what that means. Like, whenever someone says that, I'm like, okay, how about you define what you mean by running circles around me? Because you definitely can't run literal circles. So
Don't get me started with that phrase, the fruits of your labor, bro. I know you haven't touched a fruit in a long time, buddy.
no, you need to have fruits and vegetables of your labor, not Taco Bell, McDonald's.
I'm telling you, these are literally the dudes who are wasting their time.
Yeah, the dudes saying they can run circles and saying I'm a unicorn are the ones eating Taco Bell every day for lunch. Give me a break, dude. Seriously.
And that's what I'm talking about. These are things like in 2026 that you tweak these little things up in your life, they're going to separate you from everybody else. You understand? They're going to separate you from everybody else. And it has nothing to do with working harder. True or not? It's not saying, hey, bend the best pipe, run the neatest wires. Not once have we ever claimed that. Not once have we told people that should be your focus. We're telling people spend a little time on understanding or learning more about, the electrical trade, about your apprenticeship. Go put yourself in uncomfortable situations, right? Go to the freaking gym, go walk, go do this, go do that. Not once have we said, hey guys, make sure you do some great work. Make sure you make those wires neat. No, because guess what? There is so much more to electrical than doing work. Guess what? Your clean work defines your reputation. It shows that you care. It shows that you're disciplined. Yeah. But there's so many other things that you have to work on. Remember, once you start selling your work, once you start selling as a contractor, they don't care that you do neat work. They want to make sure that you can communicate. They want to make sure that you're reliable. They want to make sure that you're going to handle the problem. That's primary. Then everything else is secondary. All right? You can't just go in saying, I do good work, because everyone else is going to say the same thing. No one's going to say, I do crappy work, and they're going to get the job. No. So you guys got to remember, these are just little things that each one of you guys can do. Each one of you electricians can do these 3 things in 2026 and make sure that you are going to take full advantage of what the trades have to offer. Cameron, you want to close this out?
Yeah. So those are the 3 things that every electrician needs to know in 2026. Just showing up is not enough. Comfort will ruin your career, and your reputation will make or break you. Very important things that electricians need to know starting this year. And look, we talk about these things, we say these things. If they do offend some of you, please, we joke around with this stuff, but sincerely, we only want to help people get better. We want to see people succeed. We want people to do better than the same old mediocrity. Okay, so we really do care about seeing electricians get their license, whether it's a journeyman, master electrician's, contractor's license. And these are the steps. These are the things that are going to separate you from most electricians in the trades. So really appreciate our time together, Will. And of course, thank you all for listening. And we will be back at this at our next episode in a couple days. And y'all stay safe out there.